Hey, thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi, and pleasure to have you with us. We kind of delve into Colorado weather and also a little bit of good news to pass along in terms of the freshly released drought monitor. I'll get into all that coming up here in the next few minutes, but a little bit of a, maybe I wouldn't say sour note, but one thing you might notice as you look off into the distance is a bit more haze today. We do have an air quality alert that's in place until about 4 o'clock this afternoon. That does cover the entire Front Range. Also, we are seeing a little bit, just a smidge of wildfire smoke from the Pacific Northwest that is mixing into our skies. So it's not just you. Don't worry, your vision's just fine. There is a bit of limited visibility out there off into the distance. That is due to a combination of, again, ground ozone and wildfire smoke across the Pacific Northwest. I think today's main takeaway, though, will be isolated storms to our south and warmer temperatures for our day today. We could touch 90 degrees today. That would be our 52nd day at 90 or above so far this year here in Denver. Isolated storms to our south and our west, most stay dry. I think we'll have a slightly better chance of seeing a storm for a day tomorrow here in Denver. And the weekend we could have some storms. It's not going to be a big deal, though. It won't be anything like what we dealt with back on Monday or Tuesday. Meantime, HD Doppler radar not picking up on much here statewide. A lot of sunshine covering our beautiful state here on this Thursday morning, August the 18th. Fun fact for you, by the way, if you're maybe a little done with summer and you're looking forward to fall, today marks 2 months until our average first measurable snowfall date, which is October the 18th. Now to southwest Colorado, we'll see a few showers and storms move on in this afternoon and this evening. Most of us stay dry. I-70 on north will stay dry. It's south of I-70 and west of I-25, where we could see 1 or 2 stray showers or storms develop. Closer look in here, the Front Range. Again, a little bit of cloud cover tonight, but I think we're mainly talking about dry and sunny conditions for most of the day today. And again, maybe a few clouds working their way into the picture later on tonight. Current temperature, 81 for us here in Denver right now. Into the mountains, a comfortable 61 in Leadville, 68 in Saguache, and 63 out in the heart of the San Luis Valley in Alamosa and the Gunnison River Valley, 62 for friends out in Gunnison, and 71 degrees in Steamboat Springs, 81, the warm spot in Grand Junction. Current dew points, we're much drier today. Higher this number is, the more moisture you've got to work with. And notice southeast Colorado, that is pretty juicy there in Lamar out there in Prowers County and south into Baca County as well. That's our kind of, I guess, hot spot in terms of the humidity and the amount of moisture, and perhaps the area where we have the potential for a few more shower storms against southern Colorado today. But Denver, 42-degree dew point, that tells us it's pretty dry out there. Even 52 in Greeley, that's a bit drier as well. Air quality alert in place, as I mentioned, until 4 o'clock this afternoon. That covers the entire Front Range. And so, good idea, of course, as always, to limit that time outdoors during those peak heating hours. It will be warm today as well, so you probably want to avoid that already. But the other thing to take away from that also is, again, some of those emissions concerns. For example, avoid filling up on gas, if possible, until about 5 or 6 o'clock this afternoon. That will help reduce some of that ground ozone. Today, we're expecting a high right around 90 degrees for us here in Denver. Isolated storm south of town, so that forecast statewide, most of us getting up to right around 90 degrees, including Denver, Fort Collins, and Greeley. A little bit warmer than that for friends out in the western slopes. So Grand Junction 92, Rangeley 91. Most of what you're looking at here are a degree or 2 above average, but nothing that significant. We're not like last week, or really the first half of August. We had by far our hottest first half of August on record here in Denver. It's not going to be nearly as sizzling as what we had over the first 2 weeks of the month. It's going to be a bit closer to what we've seen this week. That said, we do knock back temperatures a little bit for our day tomorrow. Highs back in the mid-80s for us here in Denver. Isolated storm possible and mainly cloudy conditions during the afternoon. I do think we get some sun in during the morning. Highs for our day tomorrow, 85 Lakewood, 79 Arvada, 83 Longmont, 77 Castle Rock, and 78 out into Golden, and 71 as you head up to about 7,500 feet or 8,000 feet in elevation up into Evergreen. And if you really want to venture for some cool weather, you head up to the top of Berthoud Pass, get up to about, 12,000 feet in elevation, and yes, that's where you'll find those mid-50s. You won't find mid-50s anytime soon here in Denver, at least in terms of those high temperatures, but we do have some fairly seasonable weather over the next few days. A 7-day forecast. We have some showers around Showers and storms around for your day tomorrow. I think we mainly stay dry for our day tomorrow. It's going to be mainly west and south of Denver, Palmer Divide. So Castle Rock, you get west into, say, again, we're talking about maybe Berthoud Pass, as well as down into Dillon, Silverthorne. That's where you have the chance for some showers and storms. I think here in town we stay dry. I wouldn't, for example, if you got a happy hour or something outside planned for tomorrow afternoon, go ahead. You're going to be fine. You should be fine. And anything we do see should be very, very isolated, very, very quick if we do see a storm. And then for your Saturday, I think that'll be the best chance here in Denver for a shower or storm. It was looking like maybe Sunday was going to be a bit busier, but in the mountains, Sunday could be a bit busier. I think here along the Front Range, we stay mainly dry. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, isolated to maybe scattered showers and storms as we start off next week with, I think, a gradual drying trend as we get through the middle to end part of next week. And then finally, I mentioned this, and we'll have more details on this coming up at 2 p.m. this afternoon, but the newest drought monitor is in. This does not include most of all the shenanigans we had in Broomfield back on Tuesday. So this does not include Tuesday's rain. This includes Monday's rain, which was, if you remember, Centennial, Lone Tree, Sedalia getting blasted with a lot of the heavy rainfall. That was a South Metro getting the rainfall. Along and north of I-70, we didn't get a ton. So just worth noting that we did see some improvements in the metro area in the drought monitor. Saw, for example, the south side of the metro area removed from the severe drought conditions, but it's the north side of the metro area that remains in some severe drought conditions. I do expect continuing improvements to this map as we include that rainfall that we had back on Tuesday, and also we'll get some showers and storms this weekend that should gradually continue to nudge away that drought, especially in the mountains and around the Front Range. One concern note, in fact, let's go back to this for a quick second here. The concern note to me would be the far eastern plains. So for friends up into Sterling, Julesburg, Ray, the northeastern corner, along and east of, say, along and north and east of both of Fort Morgan, that's where that concern is, kind of the northeastern fifth of the state. That, to me, is the concern point right now, as that's the area that has really been dry for the last 6-7 weeks or so. You just haven't seen as much rain as the Front Range, and certainly at the mountains. And that is typical of a monsoonal pattern. The monsoon tends to bring that rain to southern Colorado, and here along the Front Range we get some of that as well. We saw quite a bit of monsoonal moisture back on Monday and Tuesday, but often the northeastern corner of the state gets left out from a lot of that monsoonal rain. So worth noting that we're certainly keeping in mind, again, our friends on up into Wiggins, Fort Morgan, Ray, Sterling, Julesburg. I know you haven't had your rain lately. Hopefully we can get some showers and storms in the picture there maybe next week. Doesn't look all that promising, but I know you haven't seen as much rain up that way. In fact, my colleague, reporter Mark Salinger, had a pretty good story about that yesterday here on 9 News. Meantime, once again, I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. Meteorologist Keely Chalmers will have an update coming up at 9 News at noon. Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin's in at 4 and 5 today, and then Meteorologist Lauren Robinson is in at 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the 9 News family of networks. Once again, I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus, and have a great and safe rest of your Thursday.